Hey guys, welcome back to Community Cares. I'm Dave. I'm the executive director here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. We are thrilled you're with us today. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. This is episode 7. We've had some great episodes out there already. So thank you so much for being a part of this and just listening later. We have a lot of people that are listening later on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I did confirm we are up on the ranks of the nonprofit on Apple
Nice.
Podcasts.
Very, very cool. Thank you
We're
guys.
killing it. We're killing it. So I'm Dave. I'm the executive director.
I'm Chaplain Chaz. I'm on the board of directors for Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
And would you mind introducing yourself today?
I'm Carrie Countess, Caleb's mom, founder of Forever14.org.
Thank you, Carrie, so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. Community Cares is definitely a conversational podcast, so we're really happy to have you here. We have a lot of listeners that listen afterwards, but we always want to do this live to make sure it's available for those that want to comment, that want to be a part of what we're doing. So every week we have a live portion where if people want to come on and they want to ask questions from our guests, from us, they have that opportunity. We don't always have all the answers.
And do you know what today is? What national day?
So Andrea, she was on the podcast 2 weeks ago. She told me what today was. I had no clue.
What is it?
It's National Quesadilla Day.
Ooh, yeah.
You guys all had quesadillas. Didn't even bring me
We did.
one. Thanks a lot, Chaz.
I offered you half of mine.
Your chicken quesadilla?
Yes. He's a vegetarian, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, we say that every episode. We talk about how I'm a vegetarian.
No, but really, it's truly an honor to have you on the podcast. And, one of our first guests was our town, Reno, and we were talking about some of the recent events that had happened with teen suicide. And you were on my mind to have you on the show. So thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for making the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a blast. So we have a lot of fun on here. For those who don't know what Community Cares is, this is a conversation of the community. We are all about having that conversation with those in the community about what's happening. So current events, where we're moving forwards, why we're doing the things we're doing, and then also resources in the area, right? So we want to share different resources that are available. I mean, Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, we are a nonprofit that gives away clothes free to those in need, and that's our goal. That's what we do, and that's why we're here doing what we're doing right now, is to share all the different things. Because really, I believe, and I think we all at this table believe that we're better together. Mm-hmm. We're better as a community. We're better as we're working together as nonprofits. We talk about it every single week on Community Cares. We really are better together.
Yes.
So let's dive in. We're going to start with some upcoming events in the community that are happening very soon. So the first one is so Nika, my wife, she said, Dave, I really want to go to it. And then we looked at the price and she's like, never mind. It's a little pricey, but it's a cool event.
I've always wanted to go to this event.
It's the Water Lantern Festival. I think tickets were like $100
Okay.
or something. But
that includes a lantern and
yeah,
supplies.
yeah. I think it's worth it if you're able to go, and it's beautiful. It's on the Sparks Marina, right? Do you know about it?
I do know about it, but I have not been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's definitely a remembrance event, right? To remember those in your life, and then you send off the lantern, and super cool. Last week we had Christopher Dare on. We should have talked to him about it. So I bet he knows some stuff about it.
It's definitely a City of Sparks event on the marina.
Oh yeah. Councilman Christopher Dare, great guy.
Yep.
He's a friend of ours. That's actually how we met, was through him.
His niece was my son Caleb's first and only girlfriend.
Wow.
Oh wow, small world.
McKenna.
Reno Sparks area.
Yep.
Yeah, it was funny because we were meeting for lunch, the three of us, and he brought this little canister of quinoa. That was his special lunch. I'll never forget that. I was like, who is this guy?
Well, I'll never forget you, Chaz. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Don't worry.
Appreciate that.
Cheers to that. So it's a cool event, and definitely I'd encourage you, the listener, to get involved with events in the community. There's a lot of good stuff happening. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to start the podcast, is people still don't know the events that are happening in the community. So I had people last week. Reno Works was here doing their serve day. there were people learning new skills about how to work retail, right? And so they were sorting clothing. They were in the back. They did an excellent job.
Such a great program.
Such a great program. Yeah, we've talked about it a couple times, and which they want to be on our podcast too.
Awesome. Very
But
cool.
and they were here. They were doing their work day, and a guy from the city came to take photos of them for the program for like end of the year thing, and he came up to me and he said, "You're Dave from Community Cares podcast." So he found us
Oh, wow.
online.
That's awesome.
I thought it was funny. I'm like, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, should we,
Famous.
you're getting recognized, Chaz. It's all you, man. It's that beard. It's that beard.
The mustache.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about my mustache. My wife will get mad.
So the Water Lantern Festival, changing the subject now. So can you tell me the gist? So you write a name on the lantern? Is that right?
I think back when because I was gonna do it, 'cause my wife and I we do a vlog, a locals vlog, interesting things to do around Reno, and we were gonna do it. It's called Classy Bird Vlogs, and we were gonna do it, but then the price tag scared me away. But we've had other sponsored events, like we got to go to Dragonlight Festival for free. We got to go to some other events in the area for free because of the vlog, but I just couldn't bite. It was too much.
I think Nika's worth it,
pricey.
brother.
I think Nika's
Oh.
worth more than that. Excuse me. My wife is definitely worth more than that. We have a lot of fun together. We're gonna.
You're going next year, Nika. I
Oh
can
jeez!
tell.
Oh jeez! You always get me in trouble.
I
on
know.
This. You know she listens to this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And just so you know, as a listener, if you are listening on Facebook, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We are everywhere. You type in Community Cares, this podcast comes up. So if you feel like you're stuck listening on Facebook, you can look it up, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So did you try again? You said you couldn't
I
find
did,
it last time.
and actually, they're moving up in the rankings in Google. So
Yeah, because you were like,
awesome.
I couldn't find it. I'm like, what? What? Did you spell it right? Do you know how to spell Community Cares?
Yes. I'm just kidding. Hopefully.
Oh man. Oh boy. This is already getting to be a fun one. So our second event is the October 7th Faith in Blue Soccer.
Yeah, so this is an awesome event they do every year. They do last year. I think it was cornhole. We had a
Yeah.
cornhole competition with all the local law enforcement agencies, and then we have faith leaders that come out, and it's just a time to bring the community together and to kind of build those relationships with law enforcement and faith leaders and their congregations. And so this year it's going to be at Sparks Middle School.
Oh, whoo.
Yes,
You
woof.
sure? That was good,
Yes,
man.
off
Good
of
job. I didn't put that in the show
Boulevard.
notes, guys.
And then you go down the street and there's Sparks Middle School. And
Yeah.
so I guess not a lot of faith leaders were signing up to be on the faith leader soccer team.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think they're scared
Really?
of facing the officers.
Dude, I don't want to. I'm
I was
good.
like, Jim, I got to text
Jim
Jim.
wouldn't do it.
Oh,
He wants to be the
He's a big
podcast.
guy. He could
Dude, yeah, he could block some people. Jim is huge. So Sheriff Balaam, when I was at an event, and Sheriff Balaam came up to me and we were talking about Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, Big Jim." So he knows him as Big Jim. That's how big
great.
he is. This guy is huge. He's the lead pastor at the church where I go, and he's an awesome guy.
He's got a great
guy.
beard. I'll never
Yeah.
forget his beard.
Dude.
Where's that at?
Faith Ministry. Faith Ministry, yeah. It's a fun church. It's a small church, but we have fun there. But Jim is a killer guy.
Yeah. That's great. So yeah, so we're gonna have a bunch of faith leaders and some resources and different things. And then after that, we have another event with the sheriff's office.
It's the same day.
Same day, right after.
Yeah, because we were gonna do that, and
It's a
then
split half and half. That's right.
yeah, but we couldn't do both, so we picked one. Are you gonna be there?
Well, no, I got to go to Faith and Blue. I
Oh,
told
you're gonna
you
be
guys
at
that,
Faith.
yeah.
That's right. That's
And then
right.
I'll-
You're gonna
at
be at
the
Faith.
tail end, I'll stop by and say hi.
That's right. We're doing both.
So tell us about that one.
So that one's a great one. It's at Old Town Mall. Oh no, Reno Town Mall. They don't call it Old Town Mall. The locals
That's how
call
I
it Old
grew
Town
up,
Mall.
Old Town Mall.
That's right. Yeah. But Reno Town Mall, inside, it's a great little event. You know all about it, yeah?
Yeah,
So-
over where the RSCVA used to be.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Great community resource fair, just to help share what's happening in the community, all the different resources people can get.
Now you're supposed to wear a costume if you're a child, right?
I guess so.
I read that. No, they're going to be handing out
I don't know,
candy.
man. Dude, you're calling me out. I don't know.
What are you going to dress up as?
What am I gonna dress up as? I'm gonna dress up as a Star Wars fan.
Oh.
That's what I'm gonna dress up as. Bring my lightsaber, maybe. I'll bring you one. We'll fight if you want. You want to
I don't
go?
want to be arrested for assault.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. You're like, why am I here? What am I doing? Poor Chaz. You want to fight?
No,
We'll fight.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Oh, I know
We
you
gotta
are.
be united here.
So yeah, there's a lot of great community resource
I'll fight when
events.
I'll fight when it's a just cause, and there are those.
Amen to
which
that.
We're
I
going to
know
talk
you
about
will.
later.
That's
so.
right. We will.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're gonna be there, and then we're also the last and third event is the National Automobile Museum, which we talked about last week, is doing a coat drive for us at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. So that will be a fun event. We're gonna have a barrel there at the National Automobile Museum, and they'll be there through the month of October.
Can you say that 5 times fast?
No, I can't. And we're really excited. We're really excited. It's gonna be a fun event, and but the barrel will be there through the entire month. But if you come on October 14th and you donate a coat or a blanket, you get half off at the National Automobile Museum. So that's a great thing they're doing for us to help support Good Shepherd's Clothes
awesome.
Closet, and it's such a blessing. It is huge that they are coming alongside what we're doing because we give away over $70,000 worth of clothing every single month.
And
so-
special shout out to our fellow board member Larry, because he set
Yeah.
up with Waste Management.
Larry killed
And
it. Got us the sponsorship with Waste
Why
Management.
are they sponsoring us?
They're sponsoring us because we keep a lot of clothes out of landfills. A lot of clothes out of landfills. $70,000 worth.
I never really thought about it till we got the sponsorship. I was like, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And they wanted to sponsor us for this event, so they're doing it. We're going to be on the patio. We're going to be giving away hot dogs,
Wow.
and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of
That
fun.
is going to be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. If you can make it, please come on out. We're spreading the word, but we're really excited to be able to keep people warm with blankets and coats. That really matters. I know. Reminds me of my story that one of the first days I was here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. I didn't want to be here. That's the reality of it. I didn't. For me, when I started here, it was an in-between job. I was like, it's fine. I'll get a job here. And so I started here. This gentleman comes in. He had blisters on his face. He just looks at me and he said, you can tell he's living a hard life. It's February. He says, "Sir, can I get a blanket?" And it hit me in that moment. I never have to worry about a blanket. I never have to worry about a coat. I have those things. I'm good. But he, in that moment, had to worry about that to stay warm in February. It gets cold here in February.
Yeah.
And he was living a hard life.
Yeah.
But in that moment, he teared up a little bit and he said, "Thank you, sir." And that's all he wanted.
Yeah.
Was a blanket and a coat. That's it. And he was good. And it just broke my heart in the moment, and I realized why this organization is important.
Yeah, it's not just a blanket or a coat. It's hope and dignity,
Absolutely.
and just really, providing that love.
Yeah.
Broke my heart. But I'm thankful that we're a resource that people can go to for that.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, and even like our next topic that we're gonna kind of transition into in a second. Even providing, I was blown away by our response for back to school,
Right.
and the families and some of the stories of the children being bullied, which can lead to unfortunately suicide rates. And so just being able to provide them with clothes so they don't get as bullied.
Yeah.
It's amazing how a little thing like that can make such a huge difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. Have you ever been to this national park here?
That Star Wars National Park. I actually do like Star Wars, by the way.
Do you?
It used to be a huge.
We haven't talked about this. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll do quizzes
Trying to
later.
set me up there.
We'll
man.
do quizzes later.
That would make me look really bad.
No,
Oh,
don't worry about
man.
it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I got you. I got
see
you.
it.
Man. All right, so we're here today. The community resource is Forever 14. So please tell us all about Forever 14, what to do in the community, and how can people help and come alongside with what you're doing.
Yeah, so forever14.org is a local movement to end teen suicide in Washoe County and beyond. We were founded in October of 2019 after I lost my 14-year-old son to suicide. Caleb was a all-star athlete and student, and he was doing really well in life, or so it would seem. And on a beautiful fall day, they had canceled school that week, and I took an older boy to the DMV and came home, and our son had passed away. And so what I learned after that was that suicide was the number one cause of death for children ages 12 through 19 in Washoe County. You can change that to be 15 through 22, and maybe it's the second, or you can change it to be, 24 to 45, and
Any
and
way
it
you
could be the
slice it,
first.
though,
Yeah.
we can do better.
Yeah. So they adjust the numbers to make it not sound so bad, but
Right.
the truth is, kids ages 12 through 19 are dying in our county. And so since my son has died, there have been at least 19 reported suicides for that age group. And I just knew we needed to talk about it. So as a mom in this community, we've been here 21 years. We've raised 5 boys here. And we knew that if we didn't know that was a risk, then other parents didn't know that either.
Right.
So we started Forever 14 on a mission to advance conversation and human connection to prevent teen suicide. The human connection portion comes in it because we just live in a disconnected society right
Oh yeah.
now.
That's for
oh
sure.
yeah.
And so we just need that more connection. And so what we do is we talk about it, right?
Yeah,
Every chance
absolutely.
we get. We pass out pay it forward cards where you'll find all over the city by doing random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
We'll roll up in a Starbucks and pay for the people behind us. We'll go to a restaurant and pick up the bill. We'll pick up somebody's groceries, hold the door for them, or just give them a smile, really. Time is not something that you can get back, so we're super appreciative when people give us their time and attention.
Absolutely.
And suicide is an uncomfortable subject to talk about, so I appreciate it when people give us that time.
There's been the stigma that you're fighting, we're all fighting in the community, that if you talk about suicide, it's going to happen more, which is
Yeah.
just not true.
Yeah, it's not a contagion. And in fact, when Caleb died and we knew that this was going to be a big deal, we reached out to the news studios and asked them to cover the story, and they said they can't. I mean, their
Really?
hands are tied. That it's they worry about contagion, and so again, the media plays a big part in that, in talking about it or not talking about it. So
Yeah.
so we Caleb died on the 22nd of October, and his funeral was on the 29th of October, and by the 1st of November, we had our first board meeting and our board members in place. That year, we started collecting crazy socks. So Caleb was in Mendive GT program and also at Bishop Minogue. So he was in uniform the last 4 years of his life, and he wore crazy socks as a way to express himself and be unique. And so we started collecting crazy socks, and that year we collected 330 pounds of crazy socks. And
Wow.
on his birthday, which is December 23rd, we went out into the community and blessed our community with crazy warm socks. So that's a tradition that we keep. That's one of our signature events, that on October 22nd, we have 30 sock boxes around the county
That's
where
awesome.
people can drop off socks. We challenge schools to challenge each other in sock collection.
I love that.
It can be a little bit skewed because some schools are more, can afford it, and
Sure.
some schools can't. So we get that. But the rivals like Reed Spanish Springs or Spanish Springs Minogue, I think those kind of things can be fun.
Yeah.
So just this week, we've got Coral Academy is doing a sock drive. and then Reno Interact Club over at Reno High School. So it's just fun. It's just a fun way to remember Caleb and also to bless our community. So that's how we started out that year. Then that February, we had our first Community Connect event. So we did that on February 14th out at Red Hawk, and we basically just brought in a taco bar and invited the community to come out and connect in a real way. So the kids painted and built karma boxes. The gentleman from Kindness Rocks came out and we had a rock painting station. The kids were, just doing karaoke, dancing, and having fun doing what kids do. And so that event was our first event that we did out there, but we continue doing a February event. And it's called Defy Darkness. So in February, we take over Defy Trampoline Park with 100 kids, ages 12 through 17. They get dropped off at 11 p.m. and they stay until 6 a.m. in the morning. And so their parents are free to stay if they want to, but typically they don't. And then at about 1 o'clock in the morning, we bring in some powerful speakers. So we've brought in Aaron from Rise Wellness, who talks about the challenges of being a teen today.
Aaron Snell?
Aaron Snell, yeah.
Snell, yeah.
And then we brought in Alex Daw, who's on the stunt team at UNR, who has his own story. Chelsea Hertz, who has a history of mental struggles and was very open about sharing that. And so we try to just get people that are relatable to come in and talk to the kids.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how, you've got 100 kids in the room. They've been jumping on trampolines for a couple of hours, but we have their rapt attention.
Yeah.
And, one thing that Forever 14 does really well is it gives people permission to talk about a difficult subject of suicide. And so typically, at least for the last 2 years in a row, the kids have arrived looking around the room for the pictures of their friends because they really haven't had an opportunity to process the fact that, their 12-year-old friend in the 6th grade took his life last year.
Sure.
Or that, one kid's brother, took his life. So it's in our community and we're just not talking about it. And the schools really haven't been really taking on the grief. I'm not pointing fingers at schools at all. And this is third party. Yeah. So I've just heard that, that grief counseling is being requested in the schools, and I've heard that it's difficult to get in there to do grief counseling. So I don't know that firsthand because I know that when Caleb died, Bishop Minogue did a great job about bringing in counselors, and they were in there for months, working with the kids. So yeah. I can't speak really about the things that I don't know, but I'm understanding from a couple of people that a lot of kids in school are dealing with some grief and having lost, especially following COVID, we had so many deaths. Man. So it's impossible that your kid hasn't been affected by some sort of loss, whether it be a dog, a grandpa, a cousin, whatever. It's
all grief.
And so, and grief is something that we just need to take on. So, and then, so we do that, and then come summertime, we do the Legacy Project. So the Legacy Project is where we take over Sky Tavern, and well, actually, this one is where we do Project Discovery. Okay. So Mike Selby is a ED up there, and he has created an amazing ropes and challenge course. It's one of the best kept secrets in the area.
Ooh, can I go?
You totally
can
come.
The race thing you just had last week?
It's not the great race,
okay.
but it is a challenge course. So we make
Ropes
space
course.
for we make space for 42 kids per session. We host 4 sessions per summer.
Okay.
And it's of no cost.
Oh, cool.
And so the challenge with that is when this is what we're finding in our 4th year. We don't charge for our events, right?
Right.
But people sign up and they take up space and then they don't show.
Oh.
And so I'll just give
man.
you an example that our first event this year that took place on June 24th, we had all 42 spots filled with a wait list of 8 other kids that wanted to get in. When we got up there, 8 kids showed up. That was
Oh,
it.
jeez.
So it's a little
Jeez
bit
Louise.
frustrating, and we're trying to figure
Yeah.
out how we can work around that because we don't want to charge. We
No.
want to make this
Nope.
available to all kids. We want it to be
Absolutely.
totally inclusive.
Yeah.
And you know, this program has been going on for a long time, but it's usually reserved for rich kids.
Sure.
Or organizations who have a lot of money. So,
Okay.
anyway, so we've been doing that for 4 years. It's been super successful. We brought,
Okay.
through several hundred kids up there, and then we go into the Great Race to End Teen Suicide. So the Great Race is not a race from start to finish. It's a puzzle challenge adventure
Wow.
that includes a lift to the top. So the first year that we did it, Sky Tavern installed safety bars
Whoa.
on their ski lift, which was the first time that they were ever open to the public to ride the lift to the top of the mountain and then hike down.
That's cool.
And so
really
this
cool.
past year was fantastic. We always have great musicians. So Nevada 445, who just won Best Band down at Battle of the Bands. We included Riz, which K-Riz, he's now going by Riz, but he was formerly known as K-Riz, really known to us as Chris Rodriguez. He's headed off to Nashville at the beginning of the year, and he's working on his record out there, and he flew in and performed for us at the Great Race.
that's
And then Jacob Thompson from Dreamt Fire out of South Lake Tahoe, he's just this amazing kid who lost his mother to suicide, and he is a one-man band. He can, he starts off with just a couple of chords and then loops in some drum tracks, and by the time he's all done, it's just this beautiful song that he's able to create. So we have music, we have food trucks, we
Yep.
have hiking, we have ski lift ride, lift to the tops. We get to do some fun little ropes challenge course things. But the whole idea of the event is it's a community connect event. So it
Right,
connects our
right.
community so that we get outdoors and, nature heals everything, right?
Yeah.
And
I think
then
that's
and then we just get to hang out and do some cool stuff. And then on their actual pit stops, they work together in communication and collaboration in order to get on to the next pit stop. So it brings the groups together. And so then that circles us back to Caleb's Crazy Sock Drive. But in addition to that, we have added so those were our 4 core events that were just ours that we own. We have now become the beneficiary of Franktown Meadows Hunters Derby, which is an international hunters derby. That last year the purse was $30,000. This year the purse was $50,000. So it's an international horse show that brings in horses, that hundred thousands of dollars in horses. Just really super high end. And those kids are under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So a lot of those kids that participate in these types of sports, they travel around the world with their horses, and then they're in partial school, and then there's a lot of pressure, on themselves to be perfect.
I'm sure.
And so there is a high rate of mental stress in that environment, and they welcomed us in 2 years ago, and we're staying. And so
love that.
so it's just been this great thing where we get to talk to people about the importance of communication and talking about difficult subjects. And then we added the Metcon for Hope, which is a collaboration between Forever 14 and Double Edge Fitness. Jacob and Derek over there are just 2 of the nicest guys that a person could know. And in fact, when we went on their podcast, Jacob had his very own story, was struggling with suicidal ideation, which his brother never even knew about. And so it was, again, that's what Forever 14 does, right? Is we make it a safe place to talk about it.
Sure.
Whether you've lost somebody or you've had the thoughts yourself, in one way or another, we've been affected by suicide.
Wow.
And so we're
beautiful.
busy. We're doing busy things. And then the latest one, this year, we decided we were going all out for Suicide Prevention Month. And we have been doing something big every week. On the 14th of this month, on the 14th of every month, we encourage families to tech out and check in. right? So put down your phone, play a board game, have dinner at the table together,
See, that
go to a
is
movie, do
so
something.
important. That's so important.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
we're really missing that kind of connection.
Family connection. I know.
Totally.
So my wife, when we've talked about connection and stuff, she never grew up having family dinners. So when I made it important in our family,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, we sit down and we have dinner together.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine growing up, and that was a tradition of my family.
Yeah.
Every night we would
Sure.
you put your games down, you do whatever you do,
Yeah.
and you focus on
Sure.
talking about your day,
Yeah.
talking about how you're feeling about things. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's a great encouragement.
Yeah, so we do that on the 14th of every month, but this past September 14th, we did, we took over, we F14 Aces night
Awesome.
at the ballpark, and we brought 150 kids and their
awesome.
family members.
saw
It
a
was
cheerleading
originally,
squad was there and everything, yeah.
It was supposed to be a fundraiser, as all of our things are supposed to be fundraisers, and it's really difficult to get corporate involvement. I mean, I love that the waste management is supporting you
Yeah.
guys, and that's fantastic. But for us, I already have an issue with rejection, and so
Oh, I'm
just
sorry.
going out and asking businesses to contribute
tough, yeah.
or be a part of it's a personal rejection to me.
Sure.
Like, I lost my son to suicide. Nothing that I'm going to do is going to bring
him
my
back,
my
yeah.
son back. So
Right.
it would be, it should be easy just for me to walk away and move on with my life, one less kid. But I can't, right? Because I care, and I love people, and I love kids more, than I love people, and I love dogs more than I love kids. But there's people already saving dogs, and I love kids.
You and my wife would get along then if that's the
So-
case, because
so-
she loves dogs.
Yeah,
she loves
me
her two little
too.
pups.
Yeah.
Do you have what kind of dogs do you have?
I have 3 golden retrievers.
3. Ooh,
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah. I have a mama and 2 babies. So we
Nice,
actually had
nice.
puppies a couple times, and having golden retriever puppies is just so amazing.
So why don't you talk about the upcoming event?
Yeah. So what we added. So in light of, I'll just back up a little bit. So we wanted to do a lot of events in September, and I thought we would be finishing it off with the car show that we did this last weekend.
Okay.
With the Impala Club. They do a car show to benefit Alta Vista, which is no tie to us, but has an affiliation with them. And the organizer of the event lost his nephew to suicide, and so it's a
close to
great
home.
way. Yeah, so it's a great way for them to raise money for Alta Vista. But it's also a great way to raise awareness. So that takes us into the town hall that we're doing this Wednesday.
Yep.
So I got some information that's yet to be confirmed, that there were several suicides in our area the first week in school. So I personally know of 2 kids that have died and have affected our youth community.
Yeah.
And so we knew that we needed to do something. So Emilio from Solace Tree, I can't forget who, I can't remember who called who. I think he called me or texted me, and he said, we have to do something. And I said, we do. What do you want to do? And so we settled on a town hall, right? So bringing
Yeah.
everybody together.
Sure.
I, for a long time, have been wanting to air this movie called My Ascension. It's about a girl in Louisiana who was just thriving in every sense of the word, came from a good family. She was a varsity cheerleader, stunningly beautiful and all of that. And, and she attempted suicide. And she's in a wheelchair now. So she travels around the country, sharing her story, and her story has become a movie. And so
So how can
I just figured there was no better opportunity than to come together in a town hall to show my ascension, to eat tacos.
Yeah,
and
doesn't
to
love tacos,
right, and
Me.
so and then to gather.
Delicious.
So we looked at a couple of gathering spots, and South 40 was the
Solid.
best
They're
was
good
the best
people.
option.
Yeah.
And so we are heading out to South 40 on
Awesome.
Wednesday. We're set up to receive 150. If there's
Oh.
500, that would be fantastic. Right now, we have 75 people signed up, so
Okay.
we'd like to double that.
And how do people sign up?
So you can go to our website at forever14.org. There is in the drop-down menu there's a link called Town Hall.
Okay.
You can also see that it's all over our social media
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
presence.
We're signed up. We're going.
Yeah,
So
so-
we'll be there.
Awesome. So there's a QR code on there. If you sign up, be sure that you're signing up yourself, and if you're bringing your kids, it's totally. It's a difficult subject. It's going to be a difficult subject. Let's
Okay.
face it. And
Yeah.
so when you come, just know that you're going to be having some conversations in the car on the way home.
Okay.
Our panel, we have a panel. So the way that it's going to go is you're going to check in. Registration is at 5:30. And then at 6:15, the movie starts.
Okay.
When you arrive, we'll have a taco bar. If you have not eaten food at South 40s, it's not just your regular taco bar. It's going to be top notch.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely do everything top shelf.
Yes, they do.
And so we'll have the taco bar. You can come on in, register. You can grab your food, sit down at a table, and then the movie starts at 6:15. And the movie's a little bit over an hour long. And then afterwards, we're going to have a panel. So on that panel is 4 teens and 3 adults with lived life experience. We have a first responder. I think it's important that we remember that, first off, there is a very high rate of suicide among first responders. The stress in the things that they see in their job, they can't unsee.
Right.
And so we have a first responder on our panel who actually also lost a child. So, and then we've got grief and peer counseling, who also has lived life experience. And then myself, and then we've got 4 teens that are going to be able to answer questions back and forth. So we're going to do a Q&A for as long as we need to do a Q&A. And it's just, another opportunity for us to get the community together and to just expose the fact that if you live in Washoe County and you have a child between the ages of 12 and 19, your child is at risk. And if you think that your child is at risk, look at me, because I too thought my child wasn't at risk.
Right.
I'm a mother of 5 boys. My son who died was the youngest.
Wow.
And so you would think that I would see, I would see signs. I would notice things that were different.
Right.
And there was nothing. There
So-
were no signs.
So, let's say a parent is listening to this podcast right now. What would you tell them? How would you advise what to look for? You said there was no signs.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the solution? Is it family dinners? Is it what do you think?
Yeah. So if you're a parent and you're listening to this podcast, I would say come Wednesday.
Absolutely.
First
Yeah.
and foremost, I would say get involved in our events.
Okay.
Send your kids out to the Legacy Project, come out to the Great Race, find opportunities to connect with your kids. So let me just tell you a little bit about what our life looked like prior to Caleb dying. So my kids are 4.0 students, gifted and talented, all of them. They were also athletes. So depending on the season, they had practice, 4 or 5 nights a week. Then there were games. So we were busy,
You're busy,
all the
right.
time. We were busy. So as sitting down at a dinner table wasn't even something that we could do, right? Because our kids were at practice from 6 to 8.
Okay.
And then they came home, and it was like we were grabbing, food at the restaurant that was out
Sure.
by where they
Yeah.
were practicing.
It was
We
go,
were
go,
going to
go.
Bullies. We were,
Yeah.
grabbing, just whatever. And then they had homework to do.
Yeah.
And they had to,
had to
come
finish
home,
that.
get showered,
Get that 4.0.
and
Yep.
and all of that. So we were super busy,
Mm-hmm.
and our kids were, running on all cylinders. And
Okay.
so I think that we just need to slow down. One thing that I'm recognizing now is that we as a society need to slow
Mm. you are-
down.
you are
And
so
I don't
right.
know,
You are so right.
it's a competitive environment out there. So if your kids are in, sports, there is going to be a lot of practice.
Yeah.
But how can we level that playing field to say that too much practice is too much practice.
You're absolutely right.
But then they want to compete with schools that are not, local. So
Sure.
if we had a local pack that said, we were only going to practice 3 days a week as opposed to 5 days a week, would that even the playing field out here? It would for us, but then how do we compete with the teams in Vegas
Right.
or the teams in California or
that's,
wherever we're doing
and that's
that?
a piece of the town hall is that discussion, right?
Yeah.
To have that discussion and
Yeah.
really get to like the bones
Yeah.
of what's going on,
Yeah.
because we're so busy in
Yeah.
society.
We are so incredibly busy. So we live out in Spanish Springs. Our kids go to Minogue. None of them were drivers yet. So, that's a 45-minute commute in the morning. And then, so in order for my kid to get there, we had to get up at 5:30, and then he had to be there at 7 for
Wow.
installation meetings in the morning. And then wasn't getting picked up until 7, and then home by 8. And, and then there's just this huge disconnect. And so we just need to we need to slow down and
Yep.
and reassess what's really important.
So I love that. I mean, I think that's an excellent point, is slowing down. Do you have anything to chat, Chaz? Do you have anything to add?
Well, I did want to add to that because we were at the mental health summit together at Grace Community Church for the Children's Cabinet. And one thing that was talked about that is so true is the state gives money to recognize the red flags.
Yeah.
And there's not always the red flags. And so
No.
we need to shift the thinking from being post incident
Right.
or right before to educating all of our students. So it's not
Right.
about pointing fingers with the school district, but I know from doing grief support groups at Circle Life Hospice, I have children and teens that are coming to me. Even recently, we were activated through the Great Basin Chaplain Corps
Yeah.
for SISMs for these families. They were crying out, they had no resources. Or a lack of resources, because it's not just grief counseling, it's peer support, it's grief support groups, and all of it, it's debriefs, and it's the family unit talking and discussing these things together. And so one thing that I really liked having those discussions this last Friday was that we would work with the school district. And so we're going to take a lot of data from the town hall, and we're going to give that to the trustees and see if we can get some policies of
great.
mandated resources as a team. And because there are good resources out there, like
Yes.
Solace Tree, there's a whole bunch, but it's connecting and communicating together. So I think that I just want to commend you because you've turned pain into purpose.
And this is not even just an issue that this affects everyone.
It
This
does.
affects everyone. This is real, and we as a society don't take a step back.
Yeah.
It's
and
a nonpartisan
listen and
issue.
be
It's an
together.
everybody
Yeah.
issue.
And how crazy is that we don't even think, oh, having a family dinner is important.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
How are we so busy that doesn't cross our mind?
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you
But
so
you have to think about it too. Think about the age of parents right now. That probably wasn't a thing for them either. I mean, I'm an old
a good point.
parent.
That's a good
I'm an
point.
old
That's a good
parent,
point,
so
yeah.
I come from family dinners, right? But my kids, my kids are busy and they're, having kids of their own. It would be easy for them not to sit down at a family dinner.
Yeah.
And thankfully they choose to, but that's, this what we're living in right now, this is the new buzzword for me this week, is we need societal change.
absolutely.
And that's it. I
Societal
mean,
change, I'm with
it's
it.
just
Starts
and-
with the family.
right, and it
Yep.
does. It starts in the family unit. So,
Yep.
bullying is also starts in the family.
Oh, trust me,
There was a song that
understand.
we just shared on our website or on our Facebook that dear bully, and it was that that bully is being bullied at home.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, a perfect example is when we were doing the memorial walk following the Defy Darkness, which is crazy to think that you can get 100 kids to walk 2 miles in 22 degrees after being up all night. But you can
Wow.
when you do it with purpose, right?
Yeah.
And was walking. We had one little boy who was he was kind of, he was a trouble. He took a little boy who was sleeping, took his pillow, and then took his pillowcase off of it and put it over his head and threw him on the trampoline. And one of our volunteers, chaperones, witnessed it and, pulled him aside and had a conversation. And of course, the kid lied and said he didn't do it. And we're
Right,
like, look,
sure.
we saw you. But anyways, on the
You
walk,
did it.
yeah. So on the walk, I made it a point to walk with him and his group and just have this conversation.
Yeah.
And the things that this young kid, 12, 13 years old, was telling me about his home environment and
Yeah.
his mom's boyfriend and the things that he said to him and the things that they're doing to him. It's incredibly shocking.
I think
And that gave me an opportunity to have a conversation with one of the kids' parents that kid's hanging out with, and she admitted, she said, "Look, I brought my kid because he's really struggling with bullies, and the kids
Yeah.
that he's hanging out with are bullies, and so he himself got in trouble at school for being a bully."
and that's where it starts. It starts at home, and I think that's great. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
being here, sharing your story, sharing what you're doing in the community. It is huge what you're doing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I don't
thank
do it
you.
alone. I don't do it alone. And so I have to thank my volunteers and
Sure.
the kids who show up and
Yeah.
the families who sign up and there are organizations like Sanmar and MB Energy that and Swizzle that stand behind
That's great.
us.
That's awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank
If someone wants to contact you to volunteer or to donate or learn more about your organization, where can they go?
They can go to forever14.org, scroll down to the bottom, and there's a contact form.
That's great. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
And one thing I did want to mention too is one of the things, the conversation we have a lot at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet is we're providing clean clothes, no holes, no stains. We don't accept those kinds of clothing. We give it to families and those in need, for children, and they're able to go to school in that clean cloth, and that helps in those environments. I know growing up, my wife and I have had that conversation where I grew up, I had holes in my clothes sometimes, and I got picked on for that. My wife had holes in her clothes sometimes, and she got picked on for that. And that was a part of it for us too. So we really appreciate you being here and having this conversation with us. It is huge. So
Yeah. We're just getting started.
yeah, we got to have you back though. You had more to say. I saw it. I saw it. You're gonna be a repeat.
I could go on.
Please? Yes?
Yes.
All right. We got a commitment. It's
Absolutely.
on camera.
Yeah.
Got her.
Just like our little tagline, be the change you want to see in the world. You're being
Yes.
that change.
Yes.
So thank you. And just the last thing I want to add is you're right. We have to give kids permission to grieve. And you do that by opening up the discussions. And I loved the signs that you put on the front yard with all their pictures the other day that the news covered. But yeah, just great things. So please come out on Wednesday to the town hall at 5:30. Make sure you get a ticket online.
Yeah.
You can go to forever14.org. And really, this is a family event. We want teens,
And
parents,
it's
everybody.
free, right? So
Yes.
it's a ticket, but
Yep.
it's free. So
Correct.
the ticket helps you guys know the head count,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Free
That's right.
tacos. Amazing tacos, I hear.
Amazing tacos.
Ooh,
Yes.
Their food there's so good.
Yeah.
I love South 40. Oh my goodness.
That's good.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so we'll be there. We're excited to be a part of it. We always end the show by telling you about the 620 program. So we're asking 600 people to join our 620 program. So it's just $20 a month. We just need 600 people, and that's how we operate. When we were this close to closing down, a little over a year ago now, we were talking. We talked about it last podcast. Christopher Dare was one of the people that helped me with this. We were brainstorming back and forth, and he said, "Why don't you just ask 600 people to donate $20?"
Love it.
Simple, crazy, and we at that point we were only serving 600 people every month. So that's how we connected it, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we're open today, is our supporters donating $20 a month.
Great.
The people that just believe in our cause. So if you haven't donated, if you're not a part of it, we encourage you to just visit gsccreno.org/600 and you can sign up there. It's super easy. Just click the button, the subscribe button. Shout out to Larry again. He was the one that really headed that up. But you just click the button and you subscribe. It's super, super simple. So, and if you can't do that and you just want to volunteer, you want to donate clothing, there's all sorts of different ways that we need help here.
Just sharing the video helps tremendously.
Sharing this video helps, just with one friend, with whoever. Majority of our audience watches afterwards or listens afterwards. We got a lot of people on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and all over the place. So please share it with someone. We see a lot of the numbers, but we don't see all the numbers. So you share it. That helps us continuing our mission to be the community that cares, right?
Yeah.
So because I'd say we're better together.
Yeah.
We're better having this conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a great conversation. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week.
Hey, we hope to see you next week. Thank you guys.
Thanks.